testosterone-fueled kind of scenario, and it's the sex, drugs, and rock and roll of the physical culture scene. Physical culture is a word that we old-timers use for things involving strength and pursuits that involve becoming strong and that sort of thing.
Okay, again, what was the name of the book?
Bastante.
Bastante. Okay, again, this is Jaen Black, author of Bastante. I suggest everyone go out, get a copy right now. Tell me what you think. I'll take all emails and may even have a chat line about it. We'll talk about the book in about a month or two. Again, this is Mike Gunsel with the Tech Wiz Show. We'll be back after this. Welcome again to the Tech Wiz Show. I'm your guest, Mike G, and tonight we have a very valuable, very excellent music extraordinaire, Jaen Black, with us, and she's going to be, she's going to talk about what she does, what she's going to be doing, the up and coming, and the new things. So, Jaen, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm pretty good. How are you, Mike?
Oh, I'm really good. I'm just moving on along.
That's good.
So, first off, for our listeners and our viewers, why don't you go ahead and throw out your website and where they can contact you if they're interested.
Well, yeah. My website is www.sjaen, and Jaen is spelled Jaen. Black is my last name. sjaenblack@gmail.com.
So that's sjaenblack@gmail.com. Now, do you have a Google page?
No, I don't, actually.
We'll have to talk about that more off the air, because if you get a Google page, you'll get more hits, and that's definitely what everybody wants.
You know what? I gave you the wrong thing. It's really sjaenblack.com. There we go. That was the other one. Is my email address.
Okay, is that your public email address?
Yeah. There's a link to it on the website.
Okay, so it's sjaenblack@gmail.com to email her, or sjaenblack.com for her website, where you can purchase her book and you can turn around and listen to some of her music. Plus, there's an excellent photo there, so you'll know who we're talking to. Okay, how would you describe the responsibilities of performing at this time?
Well, I'm always rooted in humor, and I try not to take myself too seriously. And I'm not a state-of-the-art musician. I'm not a classically trained musician. Originally, really, my main instrument is the trap set drums. And so even though I'm a writer and I wrote songs that I have played just on my drums, it was only just when I was starting to move up to the Northwest about 8 years ago that I started to play a guitar, attempt to. And I found that my rhythm that I have from being a halfway decent drummer and my writing ability has had me carve out some fun, really fun songs that people seem to enjoy. And I like to make people laugh, as I said. And I do have songs that are certainly biographical in nature about just how I live, how I continue being willing to live.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about your weightlifting years? I understand you worked at Coffee's Gym.
Yeah, I got involved in Olympic weightlifting back in 1983 when women were just beginning to get involved in an organized way. In fact, in 1982 is the first year that the U.S. Weightlifting Federation allowed women to have a women's nationals. And my coach, John Coffey, and I met him. It's a little bit north of Atlanta and owned a gym called Coffee's Gym. and he has always had a great affinity for the lifts. And just to explain, I'd like to explain just a little bit about weightlifting. A lot of people think, oh, you're a power lifter, or, they don't really know. There's several different strength sports that involve picking up a barbell.
Uh-huh.
And Olympic weightlifting is called such because it is the only lifting that is in the Olympics. And the two lifts that are involved are called the snatch and the clean and jerk. And there's another sport called powerlifting, and powerlifting is contested by three classical lifts: the back squat, the deadlift, and the bench press.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And then there's bodybuilding, and that, of course, is completely rooted in a look. People train to look a certain way. That it doesn't matter if they're strong or whatever. That's not the focal point of their training. So Olympic lifting has been called ballet with weights, and that's because it really requires a great degree of flexibility, balance, and speed. It takes a long time to develop the motor pathways of these movements to get a halfway decent amount of proficiency in them. And anyway, so John Coffey sponsored our team, and from 1983 for the next 13 years, Coffey's Gym women's Olympic weightlifting team won the U.S. Nationals. And
in fact, Coffey's does hold 16 of the women's national Olympic weightlifting championship titles. Not to interrupt you, I was doing a little research and I came across that Coffey's Gym was holding 16 of the women's national Olympic weightlifting championship titles. So, I mean, for them to host that.
Well, that's true. I've since I moved to the Northwest, I haven't been coaching or competing with the team per se. I have the competitions I've done have just been me going to the Masters World Champions and that sort of thing. But yeah, and it's been really great watching this history evolve, because for many, many years they would not let women lift in the Olympics, and it was only in the year 2000. And after a lot of protest and a lot of letter writing and a lot of just trying to push it through, were we able to get women's lifting in the Olympics. I was pretty much too old to do it at that point, but I did know all four of the women who were on the first women's Olympic weightlifting team for the U.S. And actually, the first woman who was awarded a medal is a friend of mine, Tara Knott.
Okay.
So it's been really fun to be at the heart of the sport and be involved with so many champions and really wonderful people. And as a feminist, it's been great to be a part of one of the last bastions of women kind of rising to the top, because people think women can't be strong and or feminine. Not that I'm feminine, but you certainly can do that. It's not a sacrifice if that's the way you personally want to present yourself.
Yeah, in fact, not getting off the subject, but one thing you don't know and a lot of viewers don't know, my mom, Beverly Talbert, God rest her soul, she was one of the first certified private investigators in Los Angeles County back in the 60s, back when men only ran private investigation companies. She actually opened her own private investigation company and then got bought out by a company called Barnes and Associates, who now owns all the armored cars that run around. And I mean, for her to turn around and, just like you're talking about the feminist movement and stuff like that, she was one that really believed that women had equal rights and they could do everything. And she went out there and proved it.
Well, that's great. That's great. Good for her.
Yeah, so unlike a lot of men out there, I do believe in equal rights for women, and I'll stand behind them. Sometimes I'll let them go a few feet ahead because if they're powerlifting or lifting iron bigger than me, then I want them up front.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's just the general population coming to terms with just finding there's no reason to be threatened and by a woman being strong. But I'll tell you what, you would think in 2011 it really didn't exist anymore, but it does. It really still does. And young teenage girls that I know that are weightlifting, they still get flack from their teammates and stuff about, oh, why do you want to be like that? But it's like, why do you want to be strong and be a national champion, But I tell you, Olympic weightlifting is a great sport, a great co-ed sport, I think, for particularly children, teenagers that are of the age. I mean, really, until puberty really sets in, a child should not really pick up a whole lot of weights. And also, besides being a lifter myself, I am a regionally ranked coach with the USA Weightlifting, and which is also what didn't come easy for a woman to be able to do. And I have worked with a lot of people of all ages. But anyway, when kids get to be in their mid-teens, early teens, it's a great sport for kids to come together on because they're sitting there and they're watching. There's a number of different weight classes, so people are different size, and there's boys and girls have different divisions and stuff, and they all train together and can watch each other struggle and start to really notice, well, Johnny's really good in the squat, but he really can't snatch very well. And you just start having, I think it really promotes acceptance and the noticing of, boy, people are different, and so what? We all have our talents, and we all rise and fall. Some days we're better than others.
Absolutely.
And I really love that about the sport, and it kind of neutralizes just the physicality of children that, of course, are getting to, notice people in general.
Yes. Okay, again, we're talking with S. Jaen Black, the weightlifter, writer, musician, and comedian. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to the Tech Wiz Show. And again, our guest is S. Jaen Black, writer, author, musician, and comedian.
Well, actually, Mike, I like to consider myself, all of those thrown together, as all around, I just consider myself a performance artist.
Performance artist. There we go.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier and a lot faster to say. Welcome, S. Jaen Black, performance artist extraordinaire.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us about some of your music now?
Okay. Well, the main instrument that I play is the trap set drums, which I do dearly love to play. I'm self-taught and have had some really fun experiences playing that. Originally, the first band I was ever in was in Atlanta in the, let's see, when was it? It was the early 80s. And it was a theatrical concept band, and the name of the band is called Moral Hazard. And we were fairly ahead of our time. We were all out lesbians, and the lead singer and the woman who wrote most of the material, Jan Gibson, is we had a lot of very controversial subjects at the time, and we would do skits that led into some of our songs. And like one of our biggest hit songs is called Bisexual Girls, and Jaen wrote it when she kind of got involved with this woman that just wanted to